Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Well, the big news today, Mark Meadows flipped. Or it was reported that he flipped. Apparently he flipped a while ago and has testified numerous times for Jack Smith, both in the January 6th insurrection case, I'm assuming that's to a grand jury, and with regards to the Mar-a-Lago documents case. Now, what I find interesting is that, basically in this ABC article I'm reading, he admits that there wasn't election fraud and that he wrote a book and, he's going to shed truth on the Trump, all these lies about Trump. And he perpetuated a number of lies in his book that under oath he had to admit that the stuff in the book wasn't true. So, basically he knows that there was no widespread election fraud. They looked into Giuliani's allegations. Nothing panned out. He told Trump that. Then Bill Barr came in and told the two of them that. And, it's just all this stuff. And I'm curious on the energy of Mark Meadows, but I also want to read on that book because I'm wondering if the publishers, if there's any recourse to them for this book that he's telling a bunch of falsehoods into. Does that somehow impact his contract? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does. But we certainly want to find out how this is going to impact court cases involving Trump. Now, just wanted to bring an aside. There's a lot of frustration with the Sidney Powells and Ken Chesebros and Jenna Ellis's and now Mark Meadows all flipping and turning state's evidence and getting probation and stuff like that. And there's a lot of frustration that, everybody's getting probation, nobody's going to jail. Well, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers all went to jail. So if you're pissed off, imagine how they and their families are feeling, right? Because they're just the foot soldiers, yet the leaders of the coup and the perpetuators of the coup, the folks throwing gas on the fire and fanning the flames, they're not being held accountable. But what I want to point out to you is by having, Sidney Powell's testimony, Ken Chesebro's testimony, Jenna Ellis's testimony, Mark Meadows' testimony, what are you getting? Who's left? Trump, Giuliani, and, some really, really high-level people. And all this is coming down to Trump. They're going after Trump. And by getting these high-level lieutenants in here, people in the room, you're gonna get your Steve Bannons, you're gonna get your General Michael Flynn's, you're gonna get those guys too. But they're going after Trump, and they've got the key pieces they need to go after him. Now, the other thing that's of interest, Mark Meadows, got immunity to testify for January 6th. I don't think he has immunity in the Georgia case. And, Sidney Powell and Ken Chesebro and Jenna Ellis have immunity in the Georgia case. But if they have any culpability in the January 6th case, there's no immunity deal yet with them. There may be one, but there isn't currently. And it makes me wonder if Fonnie Willis and Jack Smith are playing cards. And it's like, okay, well, you can indict Mark Meadows, but I'm going to give him a pass. I'll give him a pass, but you indict him. And you give these three people passes, and I'll get them on my end. They might be playing cards that way. So they might be taking turns on who's going to get to prosecute whom in their quest to get Donald Trump. So keep that in mind. That may not be what's happening, but it could be what's happening. And that's why I just sort of let this thing play out and try not to let your emotions get the better of you on this one, because we're still early in the game here and we don't know how this is all going to pan out. Entertainment purposes only. What's the energy around Mark Meadows is the reporting that he is flipped. He's going to provide a lot of strength to the cases. He's in the room. He's in the room with Trump. He can tell you what Trump is thinking. He can tell you what Trump said. He can tell you what Trump was doing. He can tell you what Trump ordered people to do. He can speak to intent that very few people can do because he was, integral in the Trump orbit as the chief of staff. Cross with the Ace of Wands. He needed to save himself. He absolutely needed to save himself, and this is the only way he can do it. His name, his name will be Mud in Republican circles. He's betrayed the greatest Republican president ever, or something. But if he doesn't do something for himself, he's going to be in prison too. So he cut the best deal he could get for himself, and he's going to be a strong witness. He's going to give a lot of testimony that's going to help these cases. He's going to clarify a lot of things. Basically, he's going to be the kind of thing that sort of seals the deal. Now, he did get a good deal on this with Jack Smith as far as the immunity deal that he got. And this is just one of those decisions. If you want the things of value, sometimes you got to give up a little on this one. But you still have the scales of justice. If Mark Meadows is crooked, he's crooked. And if you don't get him on this one, you'll get him on the next one, because for some reason, people who break the law like to continue to break the law. In the past Knight of Swords, this deal came about because they needed some testimony from Mark Meadows. And I think Mark Meadows, he jumped at the chance of getting this. Now, I think we don't know the timing of this, but we do know that there was a point where he was sharing a lot of text messages and stuff with the January 6th committee, and then he stopped. And I think he was in negotiations with Jack Smith, or he was in negotiations with the Department of Justice about immunity deals. And he was biding his time, because if he gives it all away, then he's got no case. He's got nothing to bargain with and leverage with. And I think that's what happened, was he was giving information. He stopped because he knew he was going to need to leverage that later on. Current situation, Nine of Cups. He's going to be a very good, again, I think he's going to be a very good witness. He brings a lot to the table for the cases. And, you now have 4 people who are basically say there was no fake electors. There was no fake election. There were fake electors. The whole fake election thing was a lie. He's going to be a key player in that one. And again, because he's going to be able to speak to what Trump was thinking, saying, or doing. Overarching energy, Nine of Wands. He's not out of legal jeopardy, and he knows it. We don't know the details of this immunity deal. I don't know if it's total immunity, partial immunity, immunity to certain things, but not immunity to other things. This man is going to be under pressure for months, if not years. He has to worry about the MAGA folks. He has to worry about other Republicans. He has to worry about those mean tweets Donald Trump is going to say about him. He has to worry about his family. He has to worry about his own freedom for his own criminal acts, because if you turn on some people, if there's compromise on him, it's going to come out, and he's going to have to deal with that. So again, even though he's testifying, even though he has immunity in this, he's probably been double dealing somewhere else, and somebody's been keeping track, and they're going to release that information. Yeah. The thing to learn is the Ace of Pentacles. He's going to bring a lot of value to the case, but I think what we're going to find out is that you're going to find that there's bribery, there's pay to play. He's been guilty of taking money and taking bribes and stuff like that, and financial corruptions. I think that's what's linked to this. He'll probably also mention about Trump's grifting and stuff like that, but there's going to be, what Trump was doing, he was doing as well. The outcome is the Knight of Cups. His testimony is going to be extremely helpful in getting Trump convicted, but don't trust this guy for a second. He's an absolute dirtbag. He got a good deal to get out of it, but he's crooked too. And of course he would be, because, like attracts like. He took that job because he knew he could do financially well for himself. And he thought he could probably skirt the line. Okay. his book deal. All right, so that's that. Okay, well, let's find out how Donald Trump's going to react to this. This one should register. I know he's been focused on his civil trial and Michael Cohen because that's where his money is. But this is, he probably knew or was warned that Meadows had flipped. But now this is confirmation out there. It was a rough day for Donald Trump, you know. Janet Ellis flips, and then, Mark Meadows flips. Oh God, just that's bad. His bid for the Buffalo Bills is allowed in court, where he said his net worth was $8 billion, and we know it's not. So it shows there's going to be more documentation show he's lying. Oh, God. Okay, how's Trump going to react to this Mark Meadows news? Queen of Pentacles. Is he still focused on his money and not paying attention to this? Let's see. Yeah, he's still focused on his money. He's focused on his money trial with the civil trial. He's totally focused on that. Now, this Ace of Pentacles came up. So if Trump did have some compromise on Meadows about bribes and stuff like that, he's been sitting on it and he'll release that. But I think what this is telling me is that Trump is way more concerned about this civil trial. And this Mark Meadows thing should register with him, but it's not. Because the civil trial is grinding forward and he's worried about his legacy, his self-worth, and his net worth. Because as we know, his self-worth and net worth are tied. Okay. In the past, Two of Cups. Let's just throw all the cards here. Okay, well, I guess we were going to talk about Mark Meadows. And Mark Meadows, in some ways, he was babysitting Trump while Trump was raising money and grifting and stuff like that. They had the agreement where he took the job. Mark Meadows was trying to strengthen the Trump administration and do what he needed to do to help Trump succeed as a president. But I think they both are in it for the money. There's some money stuff going on here that involves that. We got the Wheel of Fortune and the King of Pentacles. So we got a couple things going on. So Trump and Mark Meadows' relationship. Again, Mark Meadows was kind of babysitting him while they were both making money. Mark Meadows agreed to help Trump. He said, provide strength. The MAGA faction was backing Trump. The Freedom Caucus was there. Things are going great. And, Meadows was looking at the Trump, the Trump years and looking at the stuff of things of value that he could get from it, plus self-enrichment on that. And they thought they could turn this into something more. That, basically turn him into a king. That's interesting. The question, of course, was, what's Trump thinking about this? Trump is thinking about his personal finances. And, the agreements that he have with the civil case. Michael Cohen's up there testifying now. And all these people that are now ganging up on him. He is trying to project strength, but watching the civil case go on, it's the opposite of strength, it's weakness. He's starting to see the weakness in his positions and his decisions. He's really concerned about losing all his money. And how is he going to maintain his money? Because as this case drags on, there's not much he can do to stop it. He's trying to stop it. I read that he just filed 4 more stays for various cases. I didn't see what the cases were. I just saw the headline. So he's trying to stop these court cases. But he's not going to be able to do it. He's going to lose his money. He's not going to be the King of Pentacles anymore. That money is going to be taken away. And these cases just grind on. His legal bills grind on. And he keeps just getting bad news. Okay, now I want to throw in that book deal. I want to see if there's anything that's going to happen with that book deal. Because that sort of occurred to me as I was reading the story. If I was the publisher on a book that's supposed to be talking about the truth of something, and then I find out in court cases and sworn depositions and under oath that a lot of the stuff in the book, which is being touted as true, is a lie, is fiction, that sounds like a breach of contract. You know, how am I going to sell these books that you say have truth in them when you've gone to court and you've freely admitted that you lied through your teeth? You know, how well is a book on, the truth of Bigfoot? And it purports to have all these things about Bigfoot. And then the guy goes in court and says, yeah, well, I've made it all up. Or the Loch Ness Monster. If you find out, no, it's some dude and a little model and an amateur photographer who are behind all of it. You know, the book sales are going to drop because who's going to want to buy a book that's fiction but touts itself as fact? So, what's going to happen with Mark Meadows in this book deal? I'm curious. Just a 4-carder. The money. Decisions we did. Didn't that look like Bantam book? Not Bantam books, but one of the book things have something like that. Burden. Oh my. There's going to be, I do think there's going to be some financial problems with this. There's a burden here. Because again, the whole thing about publishing books is that you're supposed to be making money. And all of a sudden, you're not going to make money when people don't believe what your book that you're telling them the truth is the truth. So now, you said it was truth, and now we know it's false. What's the publisher going to do? You know, they've already sunk this money into this book. Do they eat it because they believe the guy, they didn't fact find? There's going to be, so there's, at the very worst, nothing happens, and the publisher, learns a valuable lesson about vetting, about taking a chance like this. The publisher could bring a case and say, hey, this guy said this was this and wrote this book, and he lied to us. He flat out lied to us. And now we're not going to be able to uphold our end of the contract. And so there might be some renegotiation with the book, royalties, the amount that they forwarded to him, some type of breach of contract. There might be a breach of contract thing that comes out of this. So, Mark Meadows has got his life. Yeah, I don't have to say it's going to be easy or it's going to be terrible. His life is not as terrible as maybe it should be with all the crap that he's pulled on people. Of course, that's how I'm seeing it and how you might be seeing it, but we don't know what's really going on in his life. We don't know how his friends are treating him, or his family, or his neighbors, or the people that were Trumpers that are now hearing him lie. We're not going to have to walk in his shoes. We're not going to be in the restaurant with him when other people recognize him, or at the grocery store, or places like that, when he's out in public. So maybe I'm being a little too hard. I just don't know. I know I don't want to trade places with him. And, there's a karma card in there, and he's going to get what he deserves for what he did. And I hope he learns some lessons from that, because there's lessons to be learned. All right, so that's Mark Meadows. Thank you for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for doing everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so that my video can make it out to new viewers. To those new viewers, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.